a rare seismic event shook the Siberian Arctic, raising concerns about new dangers not only for Russia, but also for the entire global community. At the same time, other regions are experiencing the consequences of record rainfall, wildfires, and hurricane-force winds. In the next few minutes, an overview of climate events that occurred on the planet from February 26th to March 4th. USA. In early March, dozens of wildfires broke out in the states of South and North Carolina. Dry conditions and strong winds created perfect conditions for the rapid spread of fire. A particular threat came from a fire in Carolina Forest, an area located west of Myrtle Beach, a popular resort town in South Carolina. The fire, which started on March 1st, spread across 650 hectares in just one night, prompting an urgent evacuation of residents. A state of emergency was declared in South Carolina. By the evening of the following day, firefighters had managed to contain 30% of the fire. Fortunately, there were no casualties or destroyed buildings. Smoke from the fires covered highways, significantly reducing visibility, and classes in schools were moved indoors. Tropical cyclone Garance. On February 28th, tropical cyclone Garance struck the northern part of the French island of Réunion. The authorities declared the highest level of alert and urged residents to seek shelter in safe places. In the capital, the city of Saint-Denis, the population hurriedly stocked up on essential goods, farmers dismantled greenhouse structures, and fishermen rushed to pull their boats ashore. The storm brought heavy rainfall and gusty winds, with speeds reaching nearly 214 kilometers per hour. Thousands of trees were uprooted, roads and bridges were seriously damaged, and hundreds of homes were flooded. At least 180,000 homes were left without electricity, nearly as many without access to water supply, and 139,000 without access to the internet and phone service. The storm claimed the lives of 4 people, and there are also casualties. It is worth noting that tropical cyclones are not uncommon for Réunion, but the epicenter, carrying the maximum destructive force, rarely passes directly over the island. The last time this happened was 36 years ago. One local resident admitted that it was the first time he had witnessed such a powerful cyclone and experienced true fear. An unusual and highly alarming weather phenomenon was recorded in the southern hemisphere on February 25th, when 6 tropical cyclones were simultaneously raging in the Indian and Pacific Oceans. Such an event has only been observed once in the past few decades, in 1989. The tropical cyclone season in the southern hemisphere has been unusually intense. 22 cyclones have been recorded, and their total energy by February 26th surpassed the long-term average by 30%. Spain. Since the end of February, the mainland of Spain has been hit by heavy rains, snowfalls, and floods. In the regions of Murcia, Andalusia, and Valencia, record rainfall has been recorded in several areas. The highest amount of rainfall was in the province of Castellón, with over 258 millimeters per square meter. In Valencia, classes were cancelled in educational institutions, and dozens of roads were closed. In Lorca, Murcia region, a person was killed, reportedly after attempting to cross a flooded riverbed in a car. Heavy snowfall has affected the towns of the northern plateau and the central system. A state of emergency was declared in the Castilla y León region. In the province of Soria, around 500 vehicles were trapped in snow. In less than half an hour, over 120 millimeters of rain and hail were recorded in the municipality of Jerez, leading to flooding of businesses and residential homes. One local resident faced a difficult decision, whether to save her 2 young children or her disabled father, when her home was flooded. Fortunately, help arrived in time. Rescuers evacuated 40 people who were trapped in vehicles on the AP4 highway. As a result of the severe weather, the Jerez Angel Nieto racetrack, which is scheduled to host a MotoGP World Championship race in April, suffered significant damage. India. On February 27th, heavy rainfall struck the Indian state of Himachal Pradesh, triggering sudden floods, landslides, and mud flows. As a result of the rainfall, more than 400 roads were closed, including 4 national highways. On March 1st, a powerful landslide occurred in Chamba district, disrupting transportation and temporarily blocking the highway. Fortunately, there were no casualties. In many areas, snowfall also took place, with a significant amount of snow recorded. The day before, on February 28th, a large avalanche occurred near the village of Mana, in the state of Uttarakhand, burying a construction site. 54 people, mostly in metal containers, were trapped under the snow. One of the survivors said that he heard a deafening roar similar to thunder. Before he could do anything, everything was engulfed in darkness. In conditions of intense snowfall and low temperatures, rescuers conducted search operations for 60 hours at an altitude of about 3,200 meters. 46 people were rescued, while 8, unfortunately, lost their lives. Japan. On February 26th, a wildfire broke out in the Japanese city of Ofunato, Iwate Prefecture, rapidly spreading and reaching an area of 2,100 hectares. This makes it the largest wildfire in the country in recent decades. To combat the raging fire, firefighting brigades from 14 prefectures were mobilized. In total, around 1,700 people and 18 units of aerial equipment were involved in the operation, including 6 powerful helicopters with high water dumping capacity. Despite the firefighters' efforts, the fire caused significant damage, destroying or damaging at least 84 buildings, including residential homes. More than 1,200 people were forced to leave their homes. Unfortunately, the tragedy could not be avoided. The body of a person who died in the fire was found in the Koji area. It is worth noting that February in Japan saw sharp contrasts. While some prefectures experienced record snowfall, others faced a severe rainfall deficit. In Ofunato, less than 10% of the usual precipitation fell, marking the lowest level since the start of meteorological observations in 1964, which significantly worsened the fire situation. Afghanistan. Since February 25th, intense rains with thunderstorms, heavy snowfalls, destructive floods, and even tornadoes have hit most of Afghanistan. The provinces of Farah, Kandahar, Helmand, and Uruzgan were especially hard hit, where at least 46 people lost their lives due to the natural disasters. The region suffered significant losses. More than 2,000 solar panels were completely destroyed, 240 homes were damaged, dozens of buildings were affected, and agricultural lands were also harmed. On February 25th, a group of people who were vacationing in the mountainous area of Farah province were caught in a sudden downpour with hail while climbing a mountain. Powerful water flows literally swept the people into deep ravines, leaving them no chance of survival. In Uruzgan province, in the south of the country, on March 1st, a landslide occurred, burying a residential house with people inside under tons of debris. Local residents are shaken by what happened. One of them shared that in his 60 years of life, he had never encountered such strong winds, rain, and storms. According to him, the storm was so powerful that fences were blown away for 30 to 35 meters, and wooden buildings were destroyed by the force of the wind. Russia. In Primorsky Krai, the wildfire season began earlier than usual this year, starting in February, which is 2 weeks ahead of the typical schedule. On February 25th and 27th, flames came dangerously close to populated areas, destroying 18 buildings. The Russian Ministry of Emergency Situations attributes these fires to the burning of dry vegetation. However, The situation is worsened by the lack of snowfall during the winter, combined with abnormally warm weather and strong winds, which contribute to the rapid spread of fire. On March 2nd, 17 new fire outbreaks were recorded, covering almost 565 hectares in just one day. The fire approached residential areas, keeping the local population in fear. Since the beginning of the year, 131 wildfires have been recorded in Primorsky Krai, covering more than 14,000 hectares. Since the beginning of 2025, increased seismic activity has been observed across Russia, including its Arctic region. Here are a few examples. On February 28th, an earthquake with a magnitude of 5.3 was recorded in the Laptov Sea, not far from the shores of the Siberian Arctic. On March 4th, a seismic event with a magnitude of 4.0 occurred in the Kemerovo region near the Sheregesh ski resort. Particular attention is drawn to the seismic event with a magnitude of 5.1 recorded on March 2nd above the Arctic Circle in the Krasnoyarsk Krai. The epicenter of the earthquake was located 650 kilometers from the city of Norilsk. The magnitude was later revised and lowered to 5.0. It should be emphasized that an earthquake of such magnitude is anomalous for the seismically quiet Taimyr region. According to data from the Volcano Discovery Portal, this is the first recorded earthquake in the area since 1900. Why does the earthquake that occurred in the far north of Krasnoyarsk Krai in Russia deserve special attention? Its exceptional danger is related to its location. It is in this area that the Siberian magmatic plume is actively spreading, according to scientific calculations. The Siberian magmatic plume is a gigantic upward flow of magma rising from the Earth's core and approaching the boundary of the Earth's crust. According to preliminary calculations by the international scientific group ALLATRA, the center of the Siberian plume is located north of the Putarana Plateau, approximately 225 kilometers from Norilsk. Its size is comparable to the territory of Australia. The report on the threat of the magmatic plume, Breakthrough in Siberia and Ways to Address This Issue presented undeniable facts pointing to its activation, which can easily be verified even in open sources. The M5 magnitude 5 earthquake in the Siberian Arctic, within the calculated localization zone of the plume, is another serious confirmation of this hypothesis. The danger is that a potential breakthrough of the Siberian plume would be incomparably more powerful than the explosion of the Yellowstone caldera. This would lead to a global catastrophe for humanity, and its consequences would be irreversible. However, humanity still has the opportunity to prevent the worst-case scenario. The ALLATRA scientists propose controlled degassing of the Siberian plume as the only way to avert the catastrophe. Carrying out planned degassing is humanity's chance for survival, which is immeasurably more advantageous and reasonable than inaction. The degassing process carries risks, but careful preparation and the consolidation of the scientific community can minimize them. There is very little time left to change the situation.